this is Raya, and today we're talking about dating and relationships. Now, I became a radical Christian in college, and I decided to opt out of the way that the world does relationships. In the world, you sleep around, you get hurt a bunch of times, and you hope that one day it leads to true love. It's like taking all your investment money and using it to play the lottery. Sort of the heartbreak for your soulmate plan. So I decided, screw that, I'm going to wait on God for my mate. So when I finally did find the right person, we refused to mess around at all before we got married. In fact, we didn't even kiss until the pastor pronounced us man and wife. And let me tell you, that first kiss was electric. The only problem is, I was the one in the tux, not in the dress. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Having your first kiss at the altar is a great foundation for starting a relationship. If you know you can trust each other to maintain self-control with each other before you're married, you can have a lot more confidence that you can trust each other after you're married. The fruit of that commitment was 17 great years of marriage. Well, maybe more like 14 and a half great years of marriage, but I'll get to that. So we didn't date, we courted. Courting is where you say, I think I'm interested in marrying you. Let's spend some time together and see if this is a good fit. Now, before we started courting, I had heard through the grapevine that she liked me, and I decided, nope, sorry, I'm waiting on God. So I ran. I kept my distance, and when she would come and stand next to me in a group, I would leave and go stand somewhere else, because that's how I show my undying love. But no, see, I was looking for someone to spend the rest of my life with. I didn't want to screw that up if she wasn't the one. I remember one Friday morning in early November, I was in my bedroom praying, and I said, God, what about her? Is she the right one for me? Are we a good fit? And in the stillness, I felt like I heard God speaking to my heart. Now, when that would happen, I would always say it like that. I felt like I heard God's voice, because I knew I could be wrong. But this internal feeling was so strong that I was pretty sure it was from God. And I felt like God said, well, what do you want to do? Do you like her? And I was like, well, sure, I like her, but I want a marriage that I know is going to last. I want to make sure I'm making a wise decision. And immediately my mind went to the book of Proverbs in the Bible, the book that encourages young men to pursue wisdom above all else. And I opened Proverbs 31, the chapter that talks about the ideal wife. The passage starts in verse 10, and it says, an excellent wife who can find, for her worth is above jewels. And I thought about everything that I already knew about her, her godly character, the way that she would always do what she believed was right, no matter what, the way that she loved God more than anything else in the world. And I felt like God said, if you marry this girl, you will never regret it. Well, that settled it for me. I took her out to a coffee shop where I gave her a dozen roses, and I asked her if she would court me, and she said yes. And a week later, I proposed. We had been really great friends for a couple years already. I wrote her this song and sang it publicly at church. The three of us, you and me and Jesus. You know he gets so happy when he sees us. Worship him together. Next to him there's no one I love more than you. Then I got to this part. Oh, will you marry me? Oh, the entire church erupted in applause. Oh, will you marry me? Oh. She said yes. And she was like, I don't have to sing a response now, do I? Now, to be honest, it was kind of a relief for me when I found a church that promoted no dating. I never felt comfortable hitting on someone. I used to think it was because I felt ashamed of this feminine thing that I kept trying to push down. But now that I transitioned and I'm single again, I don't feel comfortable hitting on someone even now. I guess I feel like making unwanted advances is an act of aggression towards another person. And I'm just not okay with that, which is kind of silly because I'm actually flattered when someone hits on me. So, I don't know. In the lesbian community, they call that lesbian sheep syndrome, where neither person wants to make the first move. Now, even if you don't accept that a trans woman can be a lesbian, I definitely have the sheep syndrome part. But our marriage didn't work out. I always wished I was a woman. Always. Back to my earliest childhood memories. Back to when I first learned that there was a difference between boys and girls. I thought that would go away when I got married, but of course it didn't. Now, I never cross-dressed. I just always thought I would make such an ugly woman. I don't need anyone affirming that I was right. I had to check out mentally because I wasn't okay being a man with her. I honestly don't think that being transgender is primarily sexual, at least not for me, but when you spend your whole life fighting it, building a wall to repress those feelings, sexuality was just the path of least resistance for it to spill out. And yeah, that all caused problems. Eventually it led to my transition and her divorcing me. Now, I don't blame her. She married a man, and as far as she's concerned, I am not a man. I don't know what I think about our marriage anymore. Do I regret marrying her? Was that God speaking to me that day? I think I do regret marrying her. I definitely regret hurting her. I regret getting hurt. I miss her so much. I still love her. Maybe I don't regret marrying her. I don't regret our 7 wonderful children. So what about dating and relationships in general? I don't know, it's hard. I no longer believe that marriage is the only ethical context for expressing sexual intimacy, but I still pretty much live as if it is. I can count on one hand the number of times in my whole life when I've been with someone that I wasn't married to, and never during the 17 years that we were married. Heck, I could count the number on one of Yoda's hands. And if you define sex as penetration, I could count the number on one of R2's hands. In a sex-saturated society, I think it's probably healthy to adopt a more conservative approach towards sexuality. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's have a conversation about this in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter at HeyThisIsRaya. I don't know what I believe about this stuff anymore, but I am proud that I don't have to tell my kids, do as I say, not as I do. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!